we all get an education in finding the truth about something in the world. Like, this is the best bicycle, this is the best ice cream shop, these are the best shoes, this is the best holiday spot. And so we spend all our time doing that, finding out what is the best of things in the material world, who's the best partner, what is the best diet. And we keep doing that and doing that and doing that, and that's okay. We need to navigate this world, finding the best this and that. But it's like it's fueled, it's inspired by this intense human need for finding something that is true always. We want to find something that is always true so our mind can rest, basically. Our mind is like a truth-seeking mission, and we want to find something that is always true. And the problem is that everything in the material world is only relatively true. It's like, wear a sweater, the weather is cold, right? It's true here, but it's not true in India where you are. I don't know where you all are, but nobody's wearing a sweater in the pictures, so it's not true. So the air conditioner might be true, or eat this diet, then your health might change, and then there's another diet that's good for you, or worship this God, belong to this religion, then that becomes the truth. And the problem is that anything that we make a truth based in the material world of things, it becomes a dogma, meaning something we are afraid to question. And then we get stuck, and the moment you're stuck in something or hold on tight to something, some kind of fear comes in, some kind of attachment, aversion, and fear, like, I have to protect this truth, which obviously is not true for the people next door or the people in the next country. And then the world becomes split up, and you become attached to this truth. And then we kind of lose our way. So our truth-seeking spirit, which wants an absolute eternal truth, looks for it in the wrong place. It looks for it in the material world of things, with the mind. It's the intellect, the judgmental intellect. And so suddenly, on our search for truth, we suddenly find ourselves encased or locked in this prison of dogma that we have accepted or been given or never questioned. And so instead of looking for truth, we get political systems, social systems, or religious dogma systems where we forget to look for truth or wisdom, because it becomes a mental exercise or a wish to belong to a group who say, we have the truth, and now you should adopt our truth. And then we're afraid to question all the stuff we've been given because it gives us a sense of belonging. So you can say the spiritual search, the non-dogmatic spiritual search or appetite, takes you back into the field where you can actually question all these things, and you can find out what is it, because the big question is, what are we and what are we doing in this world, and what is this world? What is the purpose? It's not just getting the best shoes or the best diet or the best pizza. That's all enjoyable, but there's a higher need. And if we don't honor that, we'd risk getting stuck in these dogmas. Look at the world. It's obvious that that's what's happening. And if you honor your inner wisdom channel, your wish for truth, you'll have to question all this. And I want to read you this one Rumi, who was a Sufi. He's written these beautiful poems, and it's kind of based on the idea that there's a million doors in the world you can open and knock and open and go in and try to satisfy whatever need your soul has. But most of them just give you a temporary satisfaction, a nice holiday, a nice pizza, a nice, this and that, but only we say only one of the infinite doors leads into something that is not a relative changing truth, but an eternal truth about your true nature. So he calls it wines. These are like pots of wines, he calls them. It's like doors, things you can drink. God has given us a wine so potent we leave the two worlds, which is the world of spirit and the world of body, so you transcend the whole thing. God has given us a wine so potent that we leave the two worlds. There are thousands of wines that can take over our minds. Don't think all ecstasies are the same. Jesus was lost in his love for God. His donkey was drunk with barley, fermented grain. Every object, every body is a jar or a door full of delight. But be a connoisseur and taste with caution. Any wine will get you high, meaning everything in this world can make you high. You can be obsessed with, I don't know, cats, dogs, curtains, I don't know, anything. So say anything will get you high. Judge like a king and choose the purest, not the one mixed up with fear or some urgency about what's needed. Drink the wine that moves you like a camel moves when it's been untied and is running around freely. So he's saying it's the freedom. We have to look for the jar, the door of freedom. And not just ecstasy or being excited. So you can say that's the voice of wisdom, the channel of wisdom. It's in us. That's it's not out there. That door is in us.
Thank you. Beautiful meditation. Thank you. And yes, feel free to keep your eyes closed or open. And I loved how we have this space of meditation, and we often feel that in meditation we are just simply closing our eyes, but there is so much that's happening in meditation. The tendency when the eyes are open is to move. The movement of the mind at that time is outward, and so we call it the movement outside. And I don't want to use too many terms here just to confuse people, but the tendency of the mind naturally through the input of the senses is to move outside. And that's why everything outside seems real, is what Vijay was telling us before. And in meditation, we meet that state where just by closing our eyes, we are able to shift from the one who's observing everything outside of him or herself, that is coming through the stimulus of that is as if caught by the senses. And just by closing our eyes, we come to that state where we are now shifting to observing what is within us. And sometimes it could be just watching thoughts, and sometimes it could be just watching our own feelings or thinking about what happened through the day or how am I feeling? Am I feeling agitated? Am I feeling settled? Am I feeling uneasy from what had happened? But as you keep meditating and following your breath or whatever technique you use, you slowly shift from being the one observing even the mind, the feelings, the thought, to the one observing the one who's observing the mind, right? So we are going a step deeper. It's as if when we talk about opening the wisdom channel or speaking through the wisdom channel, what we're doing is we're tuning into something that's not what we are usually used to using in our daily lives. Because in our daily lives, our world is defined by what we see, what we hear, what we sense with our senses. But there's always this inner being who's been observing you when you were a child, who's been observing you when you were growing up and going through your adult phase of life, and all the madness that goes through when we are adults and high on hormones, and then also the one that's observing you while you're meditating. um, to give you an example, when you're in the dream state, when we are watching dreams, we are still watching in spite of the fact that our eyes are closed. We're still seeing something in our dreams, and we're still hearing something. Sometimes it could be a nightmare, it could be a good dream, but we still use the same senses to even watch our dream. But at that time, we are actually sleeping. All the senses that we use in the waking state are all asleep, but the same senses are being used in the dream state. So if you see, there is something more deeper, as in the vision that you have in the waking state is different from the vision that you have in the deep sleep, in the dream state. And then in the meditation state, also, you can still feel, touch, hear, but you also access that part of you, that observer that's been always observing. So imagine now three circles. One is a bigger circle, one is a smaller circle, and then inside these two circles is a very another small circle. So when you're in your waking state and your eyes are open and you're listening through your senses, through your ears, that's like observing from that smaller circle. When you're in your dream state, it's the second circle. So now your eyes are closed, but you're still using the five senses. And in the bigger circle is, say, for example, the circle of the deep sleep or the circle of your mind when you're closing your eyes. But as you go deeper in meditation, what you're meeting is that background space on which all these three circles are being drawn. So you suddenly now experience in meditation, in that fourth state, a vision of which is expansive, which is not limited to the input of the senses, and yet it is using the senses. So it's inclusive of all the three circles, and yet it's much more expansive. So what we're meeting in meditation is that fourth state. We call it fourth state or Turiya, or whichever state you want to call it, but you experience it in meditation more easily. Not that it leaves you when you're in dream or when you're in deep sleep or when you're in your waking state, just that you're now tuned into that state much more. It's much more alive when you're meditating. So like Vijay was saying, this channel is not something that you have to bring in from outside. It's just that you're not able to access it in the right way, and in you're not able to be in touch with it when you're in your waking state. So that channel, that expansive channel, you can call it the channel of witness, is non-judgmental, right? What we're really doing in meditation is abandoning all those ideas, all those imagination, all that worldview that we think is true when our eyes are open, because you can check that same worldview changes as you age, changes as as your experience changes. The same worldview may not be true for a person grown up in India, and it may be absolutely different for a person who's grown up in Denmark. We've never experienced snow, right? So we don't know how to live in snow. So it's very different. We can't imagine people living in snow. But we have a temperature of 42 degrees in the summer, which you have never lived in, which is absolutely
Yeah.
different. So we don't know how to live. So what we're doing in meditation is we're sort of letting go all the ideas, all the fixed so-called idea of this is true, this is real, because that's what we've experienced in the relative field. We can let go that so easily and know that there is a truth that does not change with the change of situations, change of personalities, change of culture, change of gender, change of language you speak. And you can meet that in meditation, and that is wisdom because it is unchanging. And that is that observer that is
Can I
running.
ask you something?
Yeah.
And then I thought maybe the people listening are wondering, so what is that truth?
The truth um, is that there is
That is eternal.
that
Yeah, the
the
eternal.
yeah, the qualities of that truth is that it doesn't judge, it is free, it is loving. You, whatever beautiful words that you want to feel, you can put on that truth, and that is truth for you, right? It is
Mm.
kind, it is compassionate, it is non-judgmental, it's easy to let go, and it's not holding on to things. That can be truth and wisdom, and it can be much more than that, and it can be simply silence, it can be stillness, it can be something that doesn't change. So
Okay, I think you could say that, yeah, ultimately it's probably, yeah, it's stillness, nothingness.
mm,
But when we connect to that, our actions will be loving, compassionate,
yeah,
non-judgmental. That's how it manifests in the world when you're connected to that.
yeah, yeah,
But if you're only
because
connected to the physical world, you're like, this is mine, this is yours. I
yeah,
want more of that. Then you become mean and greedy and attached and aversion. So it's like, yeah,
yeah, because then
it's
we are now changing our identity. It's like when I'm looking in the world of uh, this is me, this is my name, this is my profession, this is my gender, this is my country. I am identifying with it, right? Where I'm identifying with me as Rina, me as an Indian, me as a professional homeopath, whatever you want. You can put names and labels. But what happens in meditation is you start sort of de-identifying, even though it's momentary, and it can happen even when you're reading a scripture. It can happen even when you're, I'm going to meet you really, even when you're, say, conversing, having satsang, conversing with a friend who's, having the same inquiry as you have. And in that moment, you're sort of de identified with all those labels and tags and your stories. And what you're identifying is with something which is much more vast, much more neutral, you could say, and much more without
universal.
labels, without labels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
And
think in the Avadut Gita it says the true identity of everyone is the self, meaning the pure spirit permeating everything. That's the only true identity. All
yeah,
the other identities are momentarily stuff we put on, and then we lose it again.
yeah.
And
And
that's what makes us fearful, thinking, my identity is my hair. One day
yeah,
it will fall off.
yeah.
My
My
true
tendency is
identity.
to leave them. I don't want them to stay on my head.
Yes.
So, well, in that, and in that also, this identification is like
I think
our.
Liz wanted to say something. Sorry. Liz, you want to say something, Liz? Your mic
Wait,
is
I'm gonna
off.
ask you to. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm struggling with my senses being
mm,
open, hearing everything, remembering everything that people have told me. And it makes me sad because I need to rest in my head.
Yeah.
So I joined this meditation just to show how it feels.
Yeah.
uh, I do
I think,
sleep. I do sleep my 8 hours. I do. I enjoyed the film yesterday. I made my debut watching a Woody Allen film for the first time in my life. Uh, I just need to tell that senses can be so open that you can't stop receiving things.
mm,
yeah.
Yeah,
I think the question is, you we receive things like all those wines, that poem, 1,000 wines we can drink. The the question is, what do we do with all that? Because what receives is the senses, and then the mind picks all that stuff up. And if we don't know how to connect to the calmness, our true identity, our true self, then the mind will think, I have to sort through everything that is thrown into my bucket, right? I have to
yeah,
find out if it's true, if it's right, and I think it characterizes me, what people say or don't say, and I think we make it into a problem that we see and feel everything. And then the mind feels I'm not at peace, and then the mind says I have to sort through everything in this bucket before I feel peace. But then there's that, there's the door out of that, or the unadulterated wine, the wine that is pure, like in the poem. And that's the spiritual work. That's meditation. Is how the problem with the material world of senses and thought is that it's infinite and never at rest. It's never at rest out there. It's never at rest in here. And trying to make it become restful it's impossible. It will never stop. How can we transcend that circus?
Yeah.
We can only say we have to step away from it. There is no solution in that field. That it's a field of always changing, all we have another power, which is the power of pure awareness, of pure peace, which can step out of the circus, go outside the circus tent, smoke a cigarette, look at the sky. That's meditation.
Yeah. But also it is our conditioning, right? That we've been so conditioned to make meaning of every input that we get from outside. Right. And we want to, and it's not by anybody's mistake. It's just so automatic that the moment you get an input, you get as if hooked onto it and it becomes a knot. Right. And then you want to categorize it into this good thought, bad thought, amazing thought. I want to get rid of that thought. I want to get rid of this feeling. I want to hold on to this feeling. It's how human being is made. It's how the human mind is. But the beauty of the human mind is only the human mind and not any other mind can also choose to step out of that conditioning. And that can happen through witnessing or being the observer of your own mind, as if like you're not very close, but you're becoming the background. Like I was saying, you're becoming the background of upon which all these circles are. And so what you're suddenly feeling is just by that sense, you're feeling expanded. And then now you have a choice. You can discriminate whether really is it true. Like you can ask yourself, is it true? Is it really true? And what is it going to feel like if I accept this thought or this, whatever it is, this feeling? And the third question you can ask yourself, who am I without this story? And most of the times you're okay. You're free without that story. But it's only our own conditioning that makes us entangled in it. And we can build up knots and knots and knots. So meditation is like unknotting yourself from all that, letting go from all that knots that you've sort of collected and gathered in yourself. It is a good time to read what I want to read because I thought it's perfect for what we're talking about. This particular reading is called Surrender the Covering Consciousness. So like I was saying, this mind, this identification is like the covering consciousness. And how can we surrender that? This is written by a guru, Swami Sham, in May 1997. And I'm going to read it a bit slow. It's one page, one A4 size page. So if you want to close your eyes, you can. And if you want to make notes, whatever. And then we can also, if you want, you can just write us. We can send you a picture of it. All that which your observer has concluded. So the one observing, all that which your observer has concluded, you believe must be true. Whereas all that which you have observed is really non-existent. I also am observing. I believe it is the observer who is to be listened to. But your observer is the non-existent mind that comes in the morning and was absent in the night. So all of us identify with the mind. That's why that mind, which is not existent, but that is what we think. And Guru is saying, my observer is that which has been hanging on to me for the last 73 years and has never left me. From that point of view, the observer alone is doing all actions, storms, work, business, children, death, murder. It is one being who is the all-permeating observer, the all-experiencer. When that is playing, then however great a player you are, you go duck, because the one whom you call the mind says, I'm going to make it, I'm going to win. The covering power has taken place, and this tool works in this fashion. Why do you want to make a solution of permanent happiness with the mind when the mind is not permanent? When the fourth state is open, like in meditation, there is no question, there is no doubt, no eagerness, no ambition. All those things which belong to the waking state are not there. But it does not mean that you died. When sleep comes or dream comes, it does not mean you died. When shade comes, it does not mean that the sun died. The fourth state hears and knows by itself. It has its own ears, as the dream state has its own ears and eyes, because these eyes are closed while dreaming. In the same way, the fourth state, or meditation, has its own ears, eyes, nose, tongue, and thinking vehicle. It is much faster than the three states because it is all permeating. That is our target. The observer of the fourth state cancels the observer of the other three states in the way that when you're awake, you cancel the observer of the dream state. So when we are in dream, we think that is true, and when we break the dream, we immediately cancel the dream. In the same way, when you're in meditation, you can cancel the observer of all the three states. You still remember everything because that observer was you. Even if you cancel the dream figures, you cannot cancel you. A human being is expected to work for the unfoldment of the fourth clear state of consciousness and have his mind open, his eyes and ears open, and not remain dependent on the open eyes of the waking state. Otherwise, it will be called conditioned eyes, conditioned mind. As human beings, we are conditioned in the waking state. When you're open to the fourth state of consciousness, you don't have the mind of the waking state. If you're not open to the fourth state of consciousness, you will become so convinced that the self or the God, Atma, essence, whatever you want to call it, does not belong to you. And that is only the covering mind that belongs to you. Like I was saying, when we are constantly in touch with and believe that the mind is the reality, we just think that's the only thing that's real. And so in meditation, we open ourselves up to that state of consciousness that is not the mind. Without the covering consciousness, you're pure. Your waking state covering mind is to be surrendered, which means not put to use to try to understand Guru consciousness or pure consciousness. Rather, meditate and let the fourth state of consciousness open up because it is always there. Then use it and apply it on the level of your I, with which you previously said, I am this body. The crow sound is you, the horn sound is you, the river sound is you, because you are so spread that all is happening in you, the mirror. Not only the reflections of the form, but the reflection of the sound. These reflections and sounds appear and disappear, but the real you, pure, never dies.
First time I heard that, it's beautiful. I loved what it said. You want to build permanent happiness with the mind, which is not permanent. That's that's the core problem, and
Yeah.
that's what makes us so unhappy, because we feel this whirling mind that is always coming up and vanishing, and it makes us unhappy because we want the permanent.
Yeah.
So the unhappiness we feel with the mind and the senses is a pointer to the fact that it's not the right place to look for happiness. So, it's our frustration is a gift.
And I think
You remember there's another possibility, open another door. Mhm.
I think I think that it's so important for us to have a conversation like this, like just to even have people who understand this, because everywhere else you can be so convinced that what you're seeing through your mind and what you're perceiving through your mind is the only truth. And only when you have somebody who's questioned that, who stepped away from that, that you can really go deep and question your own self, and then feel guided by the words of guru, or through meditation, or through a dialogue, a satsang space like this, that you feel easy, because now you're suddenly not really burdened by all the drama that goes on within us every moment. The moment you open your phone and you hear the news, it's all the sense of unhappiness. There's no peace in any of it that we are getting in touch with every time. Our mobiles, our newspapers, our family, our friends, everybody is in the same mess. And I think this is a great respite.
It's like, once the Epstein fields are all released, we will feel peace. It's like, no, that is the truth. It's out there. Great. I mean, it's obviously, first of all, it's a terrible truth that nobody agrees. Like, I've been looking, social media after New Year, and I have a lot of kind of spiritual stuff. It's a 1 year. It was a 9 year. Now this planet is coming. Epstein field is coming. Eat this. Sleep like this. Wear this. If you do, I mean, everybody is like screaming at each other to say, I know the truth. I know the truth. I know the truth. This is the truth. Obviously, we are looking for truth, right? Which is the whole topic of our retreat and today's session. We are looking for truth. It's built into us. I don't think plants and animals are looking for truth. They're looking for survival. But humans are looking for truth. And it's so important we investigate what we believe is truth. And if we believe our mind all the time, we will go crazy and we will become unhappy. There's a truth beyond the mind. The mind is just a little bird that lives in our awareness. We are bigger than that. And it's so important to question what we believe is true, because it might, if we believe my thoughts are mine and they exist inside this bucket, then, and that's all I am, then we will just be in a constant struggle with ourselves. We can say the thoughts are not mine. They don't come from me. They don't have the power to confuse me or make me unhappy. Actually, I should take up the lid of my bucket and let them fly out into the space that is truly me. Then I don't get a headache from trying to contain them in this little box. But we do it unconsciously because that's what we're told. It's like, you make the thoughts should go away, the thoughts make you unhappy. It's the ownership of the thoughts and the emotions. We think that's all I am. That's all I am. And if they are trouble, I am trouble. It's such a unhappy belief. Okay, so one tool to start to be able to listen to the voice of wisdom is meditation. It's one of them. I was just listening to this little podcast about Shankaracharya, a very famous Indian philosopher, and it seems he insisted that the way to realization was study of scripture. Which is like, he didn't say meditation. So, there are different ways to do it that suits different people. But one of them is meditation. Because with meditation, you kind of step away from the mind that is looking for the answer in the material world of things and become silent, and you can listen to the subtler part of your being that has the ability to know this truth. So let's just take a short meditation, and if you can turn off your yes, thank you. Okay, so start by just getting comfortable. Be sure you are sitting in a good spot. Close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths, and we're kind of parking the tool of navigating the material world. We're parking this vehicle, the body, by switching off the dashboard, turning off the key, and just taking a few deep breaths and allowing the body to have some peace. Meditation is not work or action. It's not work or action of the body. The way to approach the state of non-doing, of being. Take a few deep breaths deep into your belly. Let your belly expand as you exhale. As you inhale, expand your belly with the air. And when you exhale, contract your belly. Let your body become soft and heavy. Just put all your attention on your breath. Inhaling, filling your lungs, your belly expanding to give space for the lungs. Exhaling, releasing your body of any tension, becoming relaxed. Keep doing this deep, slow, full belly breath, inhalation, exhalation, and keep your full attention on your breath, on your physical body. Allowing it to, breath by breath, become peaceful, grounded. Imagine also your head opening in the top, almost like you take the lid of a pot, might even be a pressure cooker, allowing any tightness, busyness of thoughts to float out, evaporate like steam. Breath by breath, emptying the mind, relaxing the body. Just notice how you feel at this moment. How does your body feel? If there's any tension anywhere, take a breath into that area. Give space to that area, and that area relax, expand. Give up any resistance to the pull of gravity, to the weight of your body. Gravity wants you to surrender and relax to its hold. It holds you safely. Just surrender to that. You don't need to be tense to exist. Same with your mind. You don't need to think, speculate to exist or to be safe. Allow yourself in this meditation to just let go of all these methods of action, mental, emotional, physical action. And sink into a safe state of not having to do or think or judge. Just be with your breath. The breath is always a good thing to focus on because it's so simple and it's automatic. Just put your attention on your breath. As if you flow with the breath in and out. And any impulses, thoughts, or emotions pop up, allow them to be, but give them space by exhaling, as if you exhale them and give them the space of the entire universe to be in, as if they don't really belong to you. They just happen to pass through your awareness. You don't need to grab them. You don't need to push them away. You don't need to think they're real or belongs to you or are made by you. It's like clouds drifting over a big empty blue sky, and you are the empty blue sky, and the thoughts are just these momentary clouds. The meditation is not about controlling thoughts or thinking specific thoughts. It's not about thoughts at all. It's about space, space of pure being, pure awareness, peace, oneness. You can keep your attention on the breath. Just use the breath as a constant way of surrendering your sense of smallness and become infinite, like space itself, timeless like space, a way of transcending the world of things and thoughts and emotions. Opening up that wisdom channel that is not about words and thoughts, is being with your true being, the essence of everything. Doesn't matter whether your mind is busy at this moment, or slow, or distracted. Know yourself as the observer of the movement of the mind, and know that this observer is in itself free of the mind, beyond the mind, and eternally peaceful and clear. You're not trying to make the mind still or clear. We're still to that which is still and clear, which is pure awareness. And the mind is just like a little wave, a little part of this infinite universal awareness that is alive in all of us. So don't fight with the mind. Instead, lean back into this power of peace awareness. If you want to know your wisdom channel, think from there, speak from there, and act from there. You have to develop the ability to be quiet, to not believe everything the mind says. The problem is, whatever thought or emotion we have, it always feels true in the moment. Like the poem said I read in the beginning, everything can make you high, everything can make you ecstatic or affected. We have to drink from the jar. We have to choose the wine that makes us free and clear. And that is in us already. It's who we are, that clarity, that peace, that wisdom. Oh yeah, this is just kind of a shorter meditation. So as you slowly, gently come out in your own way, but staying grounded, connected to the stillness, I'm just going to read you this, another Rumi Sufi poem. It's called Out Beyond Ideas of Wrongdoing and Right Doing. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there's a field. I will meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the doorstep where the two worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. Okay. We're going to have a bit more reading and also dialogue, and I think Rina is taking over. You can keep your eyes closed if you feel like. You can also switch on. You can also switch on your pictures, images.